Two leaders face each other, both flanked by their most trusted advisors. On one side is Mark Zuckerberg, the ambitious founder of the largest social network in the world. On the other sits Tim Cook, leader of the world's first trillion-dollar company. See, these two CEOs and their companies have had one of the most interesting fights between each other because of how public it has been. It's a corporate slugfest spanning multiple years, publicly trading blows in the media and soon the courts. This is the story of that fight, how they turn from friends to enemies, and how the winner will determine our future relationship with technology. This is the full story of Facebook and Apple.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
Well, after 5 years...
Apple was already a giant by the time Facebook was just a promising startup. Seeing the growing social network as a hedge against Google, Apple supported the company and looked for ways they can collaborate. But even back then, the two companies had clear differences in their approach to user privacy. Zuckerberg once proclaimed the end of privacy as a social norm. Facebook's view is that users willingly give up their digital privacy in exchange for free access to Facebook. That's because the real customers of Facebook are the advertisers who use the platform to sell to Facebook's users. To support the advertisers, Facebook gathers and shares intimate details about its users. In the eyes of Zuckerberg, the trade between privacy and free access is not only fair, but also drives the digital economy. Apple has a dramatically different view on the matter. Apple's founder Steve Jobs talked about the importance of user privacy even before it became the buzzword topic it is now.
We've always had a very different view of privacy than some of our colleagues in the Valley. We take privacy extremely seriously. As an example, we worry a lot about location in phones. And we worry that some 14-year-old is going to get stalked and something terrible is going to happen because of our phone. And so, as an example, before any app can get location data, we don't make it a rule that they have to put up a panel and ask because they might not follow that rule. They call our location services and we put up the panel saying, this app wants to use your location data. Is that okay with you? Every time they want to use it.
Despite their differences, the two companies were as friendly as tech giants could be. But as the companies grew, they became more careful with each other. Facebook had become the most popular app on the App Store, giving it influence over Apple users. At the same time, Apple still owned the App Store, so had control over Facebook's product. The cyclical relationship created an uneasy interdependence. The first signs of tension between the uneasy couple started after the 2016 presidential election.
ABC News obtaining some of those ads bought on Facebook by Russian agents. Facebook admitting they were paid more than $100,000 by Russian companies during the election.
All of this follows reports over the weekend that Facebook may have mishandled data from more than 50 million users. That allowed Cambridge Analytica, a consulting firm once employed by the campaigns of Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, to access data to try to sway users' votes.
Facebook would be crucified in the media for their role as a tool by malicious Russians meddling in the election, and then for a campaign strategy firm stealing data from Facebook's users. When asked about the controversy, Tim Cook didn't hold back.
Zuckerberg, what would you do?
What would I do? I wouldn't be in this situation. If our customer was our product, we could make a ton of money. We've elected not to do that because we don't.
Apple followed by unveiling a new corporate model of privacy as a human right and focusing its marketing on privacy. Internally at Facebook, there's open disdain for Apple. Zuckerberg even once instructed his staff to inflict pain on their rival. To strike back, Facebook would hire Definers Public Affairs, a PR company primarily used by politicians. The company first distributed unpleasant details about Apple's compromises to China, a very non-privacy-minded nation. Then they started a weird campaign to draft Tim Cook to politics, presumably in some vague attempt to point Trump's crosshairs at him. With tensions rising, the two sides arranged a peace meeting. Every year, leaders in media and technology get together in Sun Valley, Idaho for a retreat, sort of like a summer camp for billionaires. It is during Sun Valley that Cook and Zuckerberg sat down in a meeting with their trusted advisors on both sides to discuss their differences. At the meeting, Zuckerberg asked Cook what he would suggest doing in the face of the public and legal fallout Facebook is facing from the earlier election. After a brief pause, Cook responded coldly that Facebook should stop collecting data and delete all the data they already have, effectively saying the way Facebook makes money is flawed and should be stopped. Obviously, this would not be the most successful peace meeting. Apple affirmed this by adding a feature in iOS 14 called App Tracking Transparency, or ATT. Most people don't know this, but apps on your phone can actually track you across different apps you use. Your behavior across all these apps allow advertisers like Facebook to show you more effective ads. With the ATT pop-up, Apple simply asks the user to decide if they want to be part of this system. With the majority of Facebook's users on mobile, this seriously threatens their business model, particularly if this inspires Android to follow suit. Facebook responded by launching a massive media campaign against Apple, mainly saying limiting advertising power would limit small businesses.
Businesses that simply lack the tool to find excited people who will stop and say,
That's cool.
and these two, they like this idea, and those three like that one. And that's cause personalized ads find good ideas for everyone.
Apple's position is clear. They see a responsibility to protect their users and offer them an informed choice over their data. However, it should be noted that the prompt is worded in a way that is easy to imagine most users would choose not to be tracked. That's what's happened so far. Now, Facebook prepares a lawsuit alleging Apple's actions as anti-competitive. The way Apple presented the dialogue does nothing to educate the user on the potential benefits of sharing their data and biases them to make a choice that directly harms Facebook. Like many ideological debates, this will ultimately be for lawyers and courts to decide after the lawsuit is filed. Issues like our digital privacy remind us that the apps and websites we use are more than just for entertainment or productivity. Technology has a very real impact on our lives and our futures. It is time for us to begin to consider what that future looks like. Thanks for watching. Which side do you agree with the most? Let us know in the comments, and if you're interested in more stories like this, help us out by hitting the subscribe button. Cheers.